Wendy was 12 years old when her family moved into Blackbriar House, a weather-beaten mansion perched on a lonely hill where no birds sang. The locals warned them to leave before sunset, but her parents dismissed the stories as old superstitions. "The house has been empty for years," her father said with a smile. "There's nothing to fear." Wendy wasn't so sure. On her first night, she heard soft footsteps outside her bedroom door. Tap, tap, tap. She opened the door. The hallway was empty. Only darkness stretched from one end of the house to the other. The next morning, Wendy discovered tiny muddy footprints leading from the attic to her bedroom. Her parents laughed. "You must have tracked them in yourself." But Wendy knew they weren't hers. The footprints were much smaller. Almost like a child's. That evening, while unpacking old boxes in the attic, Wendy found an antique music box covered in dust. The ballerina inside had no face. When she wound it, a slow lullaby echoed through the attic. Then she heard someone whisper, "Thank you for waking me." She spun around. No one was there. The music box snapped shut on its own. From that night onward, strange things began happening. Family photographs changed overnight. In every picture, another girl slowly appeared beside Wendy. At first only a shadow. Then a hand resting on her shoulder. Then a pale, smiling face. Each morning the mysterious girl stood a little closer. Wendy stopped sleeping. Every night, she heard giggling beneath her bed. Not beside it, beneath it. She forced herself not to look. Until one night curiosity won. She lowered her flashlight toward the darkness. Nothing. Relieved, she crawled back into bed. A cold voice whispered directly into her ear. "You looked in the wrong place." The following day Wendy searched the town library. Hidden inside an old newspaper she found a faded photograph. A girl, about her age. Her name was Emily Harper. She had disappeared from Blackbriar House 70 years earlier. Her body was never found. The newspaper claimed she had an imaginary friend named Wendy. Wendy stared at the article. Her own name, long before she was born. That night the whispers became louder. The walls creaked with slow breathing. The mirrors fogged from the inside. When Wendy looked into one, her reflection smiled. She didn't. Her reflection slowly raised one finger and pointed toward the attic. Heart pounding, Wendy climbed the narrow staircase. The attic door was already open. The faceless music box sat in the middle of the floor, playing by itself. Behind it stood Emily. Her skin was pale as ash. Her eyes were completely black. "I've been waiting," Emily said softly. "You finally came back." "I've never been here before," Wendy whispered. Emily tilted her head. "You don't remember." The attic walls began to melt away. Wendy suddenly saw another room. Another time. Children laughing. Emily sitting alone. A little girl with Wendy's face walked over and took her hand. Then both vanished into darkness. The vision ended. Emily smiled. "You promised we'd always be together." The house trembled. Every door slammed shut. The windows shattered inward. Cold hands reached from the shadows. Emily stretched out her hand. "You can leave, but only if someone stays." The whispers around Wendy grew louder. "Stay, stay, stay." The next morning, Wendy's parents found her bedroom empty. Every door in the house stood open. There was no sign of their daughter. Only the old music box sitting neatly on her bed. When her mother picked it up, the tiny ballerina inside finally had a face. It looked exactly like Wendy. Blackbriar House was abandoned once again. Years later, another family moved in. On the first night, their youngest daughter found an old photograph hidden in the attic. It showed two smiling girls, Emily and Wendy. As she looked closer, both girls slowly turned their heads and smiled directly at her.